Hello, Adam here. Very happy to have you again today. All right, I got a fantastic painting for you today. I really think you're going to enjoy this. But before we get to that, I just want to take a moment and thank everyone for supporting me in my brushes. All right, everyone who's taken the time out of your life to order those things and to try them out and show me pictures. It means so much to me. Keep them coming. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you. All right, without further ado, let's get to the video. Enjoy. Okay, before we get started, I'll just tell you what I got going here. I've got a black 16 by 20 canvas. All right, it was already coated in an acrylic black when I bought it. And I've just put a thin coat of liquid clear all over the canvas. If you want to see how I put on liquid clear, I've got a video just for that. Okay, after that, I took some phthalo green and I put it thinly up here at the top. I also put some phthalo green here at the bottom. And I kind of put some alizarin crimson here in the middle and maybe put a little crimson up here. And I put a little bit of phthalo blue here on the edges. Overall, I kind of left the outside a little bit darker. That way when the painting is done, it draws your attention to the center of the painting. Okay? Now I'm going to pick up a number 4 fan brush. All right, this is from my new brush set. All right, it's a really nice set. You can find more information about that throughout the video and in the description and the links and all that. But I'll just take a little bit of titanium white. All right, we'll do some Northern Lights today. In my 25 or nearly 25 years in the military, one of my favorite trips was when I got to go to Norway and see the Northern Lights. Wonderful, wonderful trip. So I just get quite a bit on the brush here. All right, now just start somewhere here, maybe a little off center. And all we're going to do is we're just going to touch and draw lines. Just draw lines. It's all we got to do. Okay? And we'll just come up this way and we'll turn. Let it run off the canvas. Okay? And let's do some more. I tell you, you can pull up pictures of Northern Lights and they will look all kinds of ways, but I think for a painting and maybe these style of paintings, keeping them kind of close right here where they originate can be a good thing. And then as we come up the canvas, you can let them widen a little bit and kind of do their thing. Let's do another one over here. Again, right here, pretty close, keeping those pretty tight right there. And we'll let this come up, and maybe this one even breaks a little. Comes up like that. Okay, and we'll set that down. We'll grab a pretty dry brush, pretty clean dry brush. Here we go. And this part, we don't need to overthink. Don't overthink this. Just grab the brush, and just go up. Right? All we're trying to do is create these little light curtains, as they call them. Right, so just pretty much just go straight up. All you got to do. Some of them will be thicker, some of them will be thinner. You can see you got some green in there, some crimson in there. That's looking all right if you ask me. Okay. Okay, now I'll set my palette down for just a moment and I'll grab a clean dry fan brush. That's important. It's got to be dry. Okay, let me grab my palette knife. Now I'm just going to dip this into some liquid white. I've always got some liquid white sitting right there, but I'm really just trying to get the tips coated. I'll probably knock some of that off. I can always put more on if I need to. There we go, something about like that. Just kind of on the tips of the brush there. And we're just going to come up here, especially in the dark areas, and just try to flick just a little bit of liquid white on the canvas, trying to make a star effect. Hopefully you can see that. Now I got it going pretty good. And I think we'll stop right there. All right, I'll set those down. I'll grab my palette. We'll continue on here. We're going to make some mountains. Now, some of these areas, and I start over here with the spattering of the paint. If it gets a little bit thick, that's okay. I'm going to have some trees over here. I'll cover some of that up. But over here, once it got going, it's looking pretty good. All right, let me grab my palette knife again. I'll mix up a little mountain color. Let's grab some red and some blue, and put some green in there. Just those colors that I was using. Why not? I think they'll work together pretty good. Kind of have a harmony of colors there. Kind of a brownish purplish color. That'll work. Let's just grab some and see what it looks like. So let's go right over here. Oh, let's put a peak right here. You may not be able to see that really good. Now I'm gonna cover where these lights come together, but I'm gonna let the narrow part of the lights kind of be seen in the painting. I just think it's a nice effect. There we go. And we'll just bring this down like we always do. All right. And let's just make a ridge right here. Have a smaller little mountain right over here. Okay. I'm just working that the same way I always do. You probably can't see it very good, and that's okay. Just the same thing. Putting it on there, scraping it off. And we'll grab our 2-inch brush. We'll just kind of blend it downward, softening up the bottom. That'll help later on. Okay? That's all we're doing. There we go. All right, I grab my palette knife again. We'll mix up a little highlight color. So I'll just grab some white here and mix up some color right there. And I'll just take some of that mountain mix. We'll just give that a try. You know, if it's a little too light, we can darken it or we can lighten it up, but we'll just try that right there. Get a little bit on the knife. And, you know, I like to take my time with mountains. This is not a race for me. I'm not trying to, you know, set a downhill record. I just drag and pull, drag and pull. I'm just trying to get some good break. That's all I'm doing. There we go. Just dragging and pulling and lifting off and setting it back on there. And I think the main thing is don't worry about it too much. Just let it come together. We start putting the highlight on, or the shadow side on here in a little bit. That mountain's going to start popping out. It really is. All right, let's do another peek. Let's come right over here. And just pulling, letting it break. Just put a ridge all the way over like that. Okay. There we go. Something like that there. And maybe there's a little peak here. Just kind of sticks up right there. All right, now I'll mix up a shadow color. So I'll just make that a little darker right there. That's all. A little darker. Same colors. Just different tones of it. All right, let's see what that looks like. Come to this side of the mountain. Yeah, it looks pretty good. You can reshape your mountain a little bit when you do this. That's fine. No problem. And again, don't stress out over mountains. All right, I'm holding this very, very loose. And it's pretty much straight, almost vertical, okay? If I held this knife any looser, it may fall right out of my hands. That's how loose I'm holding it. There we go. All right, I got to stop building mountains. They're going to come all the way down to the bottom of the painting. I'm not going to have any room for nothing else. But we'll do one more thing before we move on from mountains. I'll grab a little bit of white, a little bit of red, and a little bit of that original white color. We'll just kind of mix that together right there. We'll put one more bright spot, the brightest spot on the mountain, right here underneath what I think is the kind of the brightest focal point of the painting. Right there. There we go. Just put some of those tones in there, those different colors, and kind of make that really shine and sparkle right there. Okay, I'll grab my mop blending brush now. All right, another original to my set that I offer. And you may not be able to see this really good on video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend out the bottom of these mountains. I'm going to put just a little bit of mist in here. We're going to lay in some trees in just a minute. This will have a subtle effect. Won't be huge, but it'll be a little bit. So I need to get just a little mist in here. Just a little. Okay, and I'm just twirling this and just touching it very, very gentle. That's all I'm doing. Misting out the base of this mountain. There we go. Okay, don't need to do too much when I put in these trees. It's going to largely cover that, but again, it'll have a subtle effect that does enhance the painting, provide a little more depth, a little more detail. Okay, let me grab a large brush now. This is my number 6 brush. I'll go right back into that dark color. And let's lay in some trees. Okay, we'll just start right over here. I like to start over here in case it's not quite right. I can always cover that up with a big tree later, but this is doing pretty good. And you can't see a whole lot of this, but what's going to happen is going to end up picking up some of this white, and we'll go back over it, and it'll kind of highlight these trees a little bit. Okay, you can see right over here in this corner where it's already kind of done that, and it's picking up some of the lighter color. There we go. It's just giving the indication of a tree line. That's all we need right there. But I'll grab some titanium white using the same brush, and let's go right down to the bottom, and we'll just put in some lines here that'll help give an indication of some tree trunks. Thousands and thousands of faraway trunks. Don't have to do too much with that. Just straight up. All right, if you go over it again, it'll soften them up. And we're not quite done with the trees. We're getting there. It's a little bit of a process. All right, now I'll take that same brush and dab it into a little bit of darker paint. Go back over this one more time. Just gonna take some of the harsher trunks out, but I'm gonna make sure some stay visible. All right, and again, these are very much background trees, but you can definitely tell that they're there. Definitely tell that they're there. You can tell there's a tree line in front of this mountain. That's what's important. Okay, let's be done with that. All right, I'm going to come over here and grab another 2-inch brush. All right, it's a clean brush. It don't look real clean, but that was a new brush that I used some red, and it just kind of stained a little bit. But that's a clean, dry brush. Okay, if you need a cleaner brush, just do that at any time. And I'll just grab a little bit of white, just a little. We'll start with just a little bit, and let's make some water or some ice. Let's come under these mountains, just right at the bottom of the tree line. Pull straight down, and that phthalo green is going to start to appear. Isn't that nice? Just pops right out on you. Got a little bit of blue over on the edge, but mostly phthalo green. All right, we'll turn the brush on its side and just go across. Just like magic. We've got a really, really nice painting coming to life. All right, it's got the glow of the northern lights in the water. Kind of got a frozen little lake right here. Wonderful. And we can go back to our palette knife. and just get some of this white. Don't be too concerned about it. Might be a little dirty, that's all right. It's got the same colors that we're using here. And we'll just put a little water line or ice line right back here. Now I'm going to flatten my brush out. It's got a little bit of white still on the, or not brush, my knife. I'm going to flatten the knife out. Got a little bit of white still on it. And I'm just going to kind of work my way down. Pushing pretty hard here. And as I do this, to me, this just kind of helps it look frozen. Kind of look like ice. Somewhere in there. All right, I'll go back to my big brush and just blend this a little bit. Take some of the harshness off of it. There we go. Making sure I keep that horizontal. And something like that. One more time, I'm going to get into a little bit of white. And right here where it's the shiniest, right here, right under that part of the mountain, I'm going to put a little bit more. Make that the brightest part of the painting right there. And go across one more time. There we go. Just let that pop out a little bit more. And you can see how it's really light towards the center, and on the edges it stays a little bit darker, right? That's intentional. All right, now we need to do something to frame this in a little bit. So I'll go back to my large fan brush. Now I'll just get some of this here. This will be tough to see, but when you do it, you'll see it just fine. All right, let me come right over here, and we'll just put in some trees to frame these in. I'll just start right here and just make a line. Bring that line all the way down. All right, that line serves as a guide, but it also serves as a trunk in the tree. All right, now I'm going to do kind of some upward pushes. I'll try to get out of the camera's way if I can here. This might be a little bit difficult, but like kind of a sparse tree. Okay, I'm kind of pushing upward on it a little bit. Trying to get these branches to come upward. I really like the way that looks over that turquoise looking water. It's really, really nice. We'll bring it all the way to the bottom, all the way to the corner, and just fill that in. Frame in the painting. That's what we're doing here. All right, let's make another one. And right here, draw a little line. Same thing. A little bit of an upward push, intentionally letting these be kind of sparse. All right, they just need to frame it in some. These trees are not the highlight of this painting by any stretch of the imagination. Okay? Good. All right, grab my knife here, mix up a little bit more. Running low, grab that blue, grab that red. There we go. Go back to my brush. Let's go to the other side. And right over here, we'll put a really tall one right here. Really tall tree. Go all the way down to the bottom. And again, got the corner of the brush here. All right. I'm just kind of trying to do a little bit of an upward push. Hopefully you can see that. Just a little. I'll get wider and wider as we go down. Okay. Come back and darken that up some. I'm liking the light that's kind of poking through. It's a nice little effect. Slightly unintentional, but it works. All right, now here is where we'll bring the trees to life a little bit. I'm going to touch just a little bit of liquid white. I'm just going to dab it into that same color. All right. Now I want these trees to remain kind of dark. Again, I want our focal point here, but we're going to highlight them just a little. Okay, I'm going to start at the one here in the center. I'm just going to touch it just a little, just to bring a little bit of light to it, just so we know for sure it's a tree. But it's not that bright. It stays fairly subdued. And over here on the edge, I'm not going to reload. I'm just going to use that same brush. It can be even darker over here. But as I'm pushing a little bit hard, some of that white comes out still. That's great. Just like that. I've still got this dark tree over to the side, but you can definitely see it's there. Probably better here than on the video, but that's a really nice effect. Now I'll get a little bit more, and we'll come back and do this other side. Same thing. All right, I'll just touch it slow, just in some spots, just softly, just so it pops out some. But these trees are not the main event. They're just to frame it in. There we go. Now we can see that these are definitely trees. You can see the branches. You can see the needles on them. Really nice, kind of a 3D look. Okay, but we don't need to do too much more to the painting than that. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to call this one complete. I really enjoyed this painting. These dark canvas paintings are a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy it too if you give it a try. Don't forget to check out the links to my brushes in the description of the video. Until next time, God bless, and remember, if I can paint, you can too. See you next time.